Hello and welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Mike.
I'm Rainbow.
And today, Rainbow, we are going to be talking about humans and bears and what happens when they meet out in the wild.
That sounds like a terrible idea. But Mike, you're from Canada.
I am, yes.
So there are a lot of bears there.
Sure.
My question is, what do you do when you come across a bear?
Well, that's a scary question to think about, but actually there's two different things you could do. Some people say with brown or grizzly bears, play dead. Lie on the ground, don't move, cover your head with your hands, and just try to hope the bear leaves you alone.
Pass out.
If it's a black bear, maybe make yourself big and shout and scream, "Go away, bear, leave me alone," because you might be able to scare the bear away. A little boy actually did that.
Oh my goodness, that sounds really impossible for me to do, but we're going to look at today's article which says, why do humans and bears cross paths so often? Let's do it now.
In places like the U.S. state of Alaska, people often come across bears while they hike through the woods. Most wild animals try to avoid humans, so what makes bears different? To understand bears' habits, scientists train them to walk on treadmills. They found that going up and down hills is more tiring for bears than moving along flat ground. Bears understand this, and they try to use as little energy as possible while they hunt for food. In other words, bears prefer to stick to even ground that is free from obstacles.
All right, so our article actually has the title that is also a question, and that question is, why do humans and bears cross paths so often? Interesting. Now, this expression, to cross paths, means just to meet someone in an unexpected or surprising way. If you're walking down the street and, oh look, there's your friend, you could say, I crossed paths with my friend today. I didn't expect to, but I met them as I was walking down the road. Now, if you cross paths with your friend, that's okay.
That's great.
Your friend won't try to eat you. But if you cross paths with a bear, that might not be okay, and the bear might try to eat you. If your friend tries to eat you, you should stop being friends with that person.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But they would eat you first.
Well, that's true.
All right, so let's get started with this article, and it's talking about places in America where people meet bears. So the first sentence says, in places like the U.S. state of Alaska, people often come across bears while they hike through the woods.
A lot of bears in Alaska.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Most wild animals try to avoid humans. So what makes bears different?
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, a lot of animals, even some of the scary animals we might meet out in the woods when we're hiking, they might actually run away when they hear humans.
Snakes?
Definitely, and snakes don't usually attack people.
Yeah.
That's not a problem, but mountain lions, cougars, things like that, they would usually stay away from people. And of course, we would meet these wild animals when we are out hiking. Now, to hike is basically to walk across the countryside. When you're out for a walk through the mountains or across some fields, through a forest, something like that, you are hiking. You're probably not walking on a road. You might be walking on a path that kind of winds and twists around the trees. You're surrounded by nature, and you're doing this for exercise or for fun or something like that. If you're walking down the road in a city to the local store, you're not hiking, you're just walking there. But if you're hiking, you're out in nature and you're walking to get fresh air and exercise and to see the beautiful views and maybe some animals too. For example, we hiked through the forest for 5 hours to get to the lake.
Wow.
That sounds nice, as long as you don't see any bears,
That's beautiful.
Of course, yes, that would be a nice way to hike. And actually, we can also use hike as a noun, right? We went for or went on a hike. Now let's get back to the article. To understand bears' habits, scientists train them to walk on treadmills. This has got to be one of the strangest science experiments I've ever heard of.
That's amazing.
Let's get some bears and put them on a treadmill like in a gym. The bears just walking, going, why am I doing this?
Or running.
Why are these weird people in white coats making me walk nowhere? I want to go back to the forest. I'm a bear and this is silly.
Okay, so we have this experiment going on, and these people conducting the experiment, they're called scientists.
Weird scientists.
Now, scientists, we have the word science, of course. Scientist is a person, the person who's doing the experiment. And it says scientists have been looking for a solution to the problem since the 1980s. So in this sentence, these people who are studying, like Mike said, they're in their lab coats, they're doing experiments, they're trying to find a solution to the problem. So, what is something that scientists are probably looking for a solution for in our present day?
Oh, well, of course, a lot of scientists were working hard to come up with coronavirus medicines.
Yeah!
Scientists work in all fields of science, from studying space to studying bodies, studying animals, studying the way the world works, and doing experiments to try to learn and discover new things. Now, these strange scientists who have this bear on a treadmill, this very confused bear, they're studying how it walks. And what did they learn? Well, it says they found that going up and down hills is more tiring for bears than moving along flat ground. Okay, well, that's kind of like people, right? If you've ever gone hiking or even walking up or down a hill in the city, you would notice that as you walk up, you get more tired, your legs hurt, and you run out of breath and that kind of thing. It's harder to walk up a hill or down a hill than it is to walk across flat ground. Bears understand this, it says, and they try to use as little energy as possible while they hunt for food. They're saving their energy, just like humans would.
Oh, that's very interesting. So these scientists are studying the bears and their habits, and the article continues to say, in other words, bears prefer to stick to even ground that is free from obstacles. Okay, so we have a couple of words here. The first one is bears prefer to stick to even ground. To stick to means they're continuing to walk on ground that's even. They like to stay on flat ground, not upwards and not downwards. And this ground is free from obstacles. So there aren't too many difficult trees or fruits or things in between. Obstacles are things that make it hard for you to cross a path. So bears like it easy, just like humans, right?
Yeah, exactly. When you go hiking, you don't want to be walking around trees or over big rocks or things like that. All right, let's take a quick break and then we'll be back to learn more about how bears are lazy like we are.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。我们在电视新闻上或是网络上难免会听到有人健行的时候遇到熊。那今天的课文要来探讨，为什么会在路上常常遇到熊呢？它们为什么不像大多数的野生动物会试着避开人类呢？好，课文一开始写到，在美国阿拉斯加州这样的地方呢，人们徒步旅行穿越树林的时候，常常遇到熊。那为了要了解熊的习性，科学家就训练它们来走跑步机，然后就发现对熊来说，它们走上下坡会比平坦地面还要累。那因为熊它们知道这一点，所以在觅食的时候呢，就会试着尽可能消耗越少的能量。它们会沿着没有障碍物的平坦地面来走。好，来看两个单字 hike。Hike 可以当名词或动词来表达徒步旅行，像我们说健行的那种意思。Scientist 表示科学家。那这个段落有2个文法重点，我们来进入文法时间。大家好，我是文法界的女神 Fanny。好，我们来看今天文法重点。第一个是片语动词 come across， 加上某人或某事物就可以表达碰巧遇到，就跟 run into somebody or something 意思是相同的哦。像我们可以说 We came across a lovely cafe a few days ago。我们几天前偶然发现一间迷人的小餐馆，这跟我一样迷人。好，第二个重点是 as 什么什么 as possible 的相关句型。第一个你可以用 as 形容词或副词 as possible 来表达尽可能怎么样，像是 I'll call you back as soon as possible， 我会尽快回你电话的，我还有100通要回你，慢慢等。好，第二个重点是 as many 或是 as much 加上名词加上 as possible 就是尽可能多的怎么样。那 many 就是搭配复数可数名词， much 是搭配不可数名词哦。例如 The doctor advised her to get as much rest as possible， 医生建议她要尽可能多休息。第三个重点是 as few 或是 less 加上名词加上 as possible 就表示尽可能少的怎么样。那一样哦，这边 few 是搭配复数可数名词 ，less 是搭配不可数名词。举例来说 ，He tried to solve the math problem in as few steps as possible。他尽可能用最少的步骤来解开那个数学题，真聪明。好，那我们接着要回到课文里面喽。
Humans also like to take the path of least resistance, which is why we use hiking trails. These trails allow us to explore the forest with ease. Similarly, bears also use these trails to hunt for food. So if you're out enjoying nature in bear country, don't let your guard down just because you're on a man-made path. An isolated spot in the countryside is the last place you'd want to run into a hungry bear.
All right, so let's go to the next sentence. It says, humans also like to take the path of least resistance, which is why we use hiking trails. Okay, so we have this phrase, the path of least resistance. We often talk about this when we're trying to do something easily, and we're trying to go without obstacles. So this is the most direct and straightforward way to do something. So here, when we're hiking, we use trails. Next sentence says, these trails allow us to explore the forest with ease. What is your favorite trail in Taiwan when you hike?
I don't really go hiking very often, so I don't really have a favorite trail. How about you?
I love the trails in Yangmingshan. There's beautiful trails. Actually, it's a very cool mountain because there are many, many different trails, and each path looks totally different. Okay, the next sentence says, similarly, bears also use these trails to hunt for food. So people and bears use trails.
Of course, sure they do, yeah, because a trail is a clear way through probably a forest or some area like that. We might use the word trail or also the word path. These are very, very similar. We're not talking about a road or a sidewalk, probably something that's been built by people, but this is just an area of the land where there's less grass, fewer bushes, some space between the trees, and when you look down, you probably see the trail. It might be hard to see, especially at night, but animals use the trail, people use the trail. It's the easiest way to get through this area. For example, the runner followed the trail all the way back to town. And if you're exploring an area, sure, stick to the trail because that will make it the easiest walk of any way you can choose through that area.
Yes, and that is our next word, explore. So explore means you're going and you're looking for something. Maybe you don't know what you're looking for, but you're just taking a hike to see what's out there. So we have a sentence here that says, although Brett was on a business trip, he used his free time to explore the town. So Brett is traveling for work, but when he's not in meetings, he's going to see the local places, he's going to check out restaurants, maybe making some friends just to see what's out there.
All right, so back to the article. It says, so if you're out enjoying nature in bear country, don't let your guard down just because you're on a man-made path. Absolutely. Bear country, we would use this just to talk about a part of the world where you might expect to find bears. All right, so have you ever gone hiking in bear country?
I don't think so.
No?
Oh, maybe
Yangmingshan is probably not bear country.
California, Big Sur?
Okay, that could be up in the mountains, sure. Yeah, in the
yeah.
Cascades there. Could
I think
be bear
there are
country.
Grizzly bears there.
Probably, yes.
Yeah, that's a very beautiful place.
It is.
We also have another word here that's man-made path. So how would you explain that?
It's a path that has been made by men or people.
I think it's designed to be like safer, or it's been paved out so it's easier to walk in so you wouldn't like slip and fall. Okay, so we have the next sentence here which says, an isolated spot in the countryside is the last place you'd want to run into a hungry bear. Ooh, so we don't want to run into a hungry bear, especially if you're very far away. You're isolated and you're not in the city, but you're in the countryside.
Right. The countryside is out in the wild area, out in nature, not in a city, not in a place with lots of buildings and roads and people, but out somewhere where there might be very few people around, but lots of trees or mountains, maybe out near farmers' fields, that type of area too, but certainly not in a built-up city type of area. For example, the cowboy rode his horse through the open countryside. So we can imagine lots of trees, lots of sky, lots of grass, but not a lot of buildings. That would definitely be a sign that we are in the countryside. All right, so let's move on to our what do you think question. Here it is. What would you do if you ran into a bear while hiking? Scary question. So what would you do, Rainbow? You're out there hiking, maybe in California. You run into a bear on the path through the woods.
Okay. So first I would freeze.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't know what to do. Okay. Secondly, I would check to see what type of bear it was because like you were teaching us, we need to know what bear it was to know how to respond.
Okay.
How about you?
I don't know. Well, the first thing I would do is put a bell or something noisy on my bag. That's a good idea. You can scare animals away by having them hear you as you're walking down. Then maybe, hopefully, you won't run into the bear. But I don't know. I guess the first thing I would do is I might scream and yell.
Oh.
I would find it hard to just lie down on the ground and hope the bear wouldn't eat me. So I might try to make myself big and scary. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but I think that's probably what I would do. And use a lot of swear words.
That's so scary. Would the bear understand though?
No, but it would make me feel better.
No, that's true.
'Cause I'm scared.
Make you courageous.
Yes.
And strong.
So there you go, guys. Be careful out there in the wilderness. If you are going to go hiking in bear country, do find out about the local situation before you actually head up into the mountains. You don't want a bear to ruin your nice holiday.
Yeah,
all right,
definitely.
Take care. We'll see you soon, and we'll be back with more great articles. Bye-bye.
Bye.
我们人类喜欢走阻力最小、最轻松、最直接的路线，所以通常呢就会利用登山步道来探访森林。那么同样呢，熊也会想要利用这些步道来觅食啊。所以下次如果同学们要去那种熊会出没的地区享受大自然，千万要保持警戒。要是在乡下偏远地区遇到饥饿的熊，你可能喊破喉咙也不会有人来救你，你喊破喉咙。好了，很冷的梗，大家看。补充一下 resistance 这个字，它表示阻力、抵抗。我们文中用到 the path of least resistance， 就是表达阻力最小的步道。那么 Rainbow 老师他刚则是用到这个最直接的路线、最直接的方法，他用到 straightforward 这个字，就是在 straight 直的后面再加上 forward， 把它构成一个字，它是可以用来形容直接的、明确的、简单易懂的。这边还有3个单字 trail。Trail 它表示乡间小路、林间小道，或是表达特定路线。还有 explore 它是表达在什么什么探访、探索或是研究的意思。那么 countryside 它是表达乡间、乡村、乡下的意思。好，那老师们在聊到熊出没的地区时，有提到美国加州这个 Big Sur， 也许会有北美灰熊。Big Sur 中文可以说大瑟尔或者是大苏尔，它是一个景色美丽又有很多山的区域。那么老师有提到 Grizzly Bear， 就是北美灰熊。还有Mike 老师还用到 Cascade，Cascade 可以指小瀑布，常常用来指那种瀑布群的分支。好，那么以上是这个讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
In places like the U.S. state of Alaska, people often come across bears while they hike through the woods. Most wild animals try to avoid humans, so what makes bears different? To understand bears' habits, scientists train them to walk on treadmills. They found that going up and down hills is more tiring for bears than moving along flat ground. Bears understand this, and they try to use as little energy as possible while they hunt for food. In other words, bears prefer to stick to even ground that is free from obstacles. Humans also like to take the path of least resistance, which is why we use hiking trails. These trails allow us to explore the forest with ease. Similarly, bears also use these trails to hunt for food. So if you're out enjoying nature in bear country, don't let your guard down just because you're on a man-made path. An isolated spot in the countryside is the last place you'd want to run into a hungry bear.
Hi, I'm Kim.
And I'm Matt.
We're going to play a game called Guess the Bear. We each have 3 cards with 3 vocabulary words from your lessons. We have to put them into sentences and replace the word with the word bear. And we each have 1 minute to guess.
And you're going to guess first,
I
so
am.
let's go. Are you ready? Start the timer. First one is a noun, 1 word. Bears last year quickly developed a vaccine for COVID-19.
Scientists.
Correct. Next one is a verb, 1 word. The NASA Mars rover was sent to bear the planet Mars.
Explore.
Correct, again, wow. Next one, verb, 1 word. He bought new bearing boots to climb Jade Mountain.
Hiking.
Right.
That's
wow,
right.
that was still 30 seconds left on the clock.
Still got time, baby. All right. All right, so let's restart the clock and go. This is a 3-word phrase. In the middle is an adjective or an adverb. My brother got up late, so he ran bear fast, bear, to catch the school bus.
As fast as he can? No.
Close.
Okay.
Second sentence. David and Jenny talked bear quietly, bear, so they don't wake up the baby.
As something as okay, next one, pass.
Okay. This is a noun, it's 1 word. This weekend we plan to take a drive along the English Bear.
Coast. No.
Almost. Most of the factories in Taiwan are located in the Bear.
Countryside?
Yes, correct. Okay, this is a noun, 1 word. Taiwan has more than 100 beautiful bears for hiking.
Is it trails?
So, yeah, it's trails.
Okay.
And the first one was as something as possible. So my brother got up late, so he ran as fast as possible to catch the school bus.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
All right.
See you next time!